It's the old world. It's coming. You know it. I know it. I suppose we probably should talk about it.
Why was you on Old World when you got Current World?
The new world. It's not about that. It's the new old world. Let's just talk about it.
Old World is a thing.
It is a thing.
I'm, as you can probably tell by my tone of voice, kind of
On the fence?
on the fence with it, and you're going to try and convince me why I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think, the old world is certainly a weird one. I certainly wanted to make a video about it. At time of recording, we just had the Warhammer 40th anniversary presentation. Is that what it's called? Preview.
Warhammer Day.
Warhammer Day preview. Nailed it. And there's obviously loads of new stuff on Bretonnia, and it's starting to get some traction.
Yeah,
and I feel like it's still in a very weird place.
Nostalgia sells.
Yeah, it does. I found this with Heresy. I think a lot of people jumped on, myself included, and were like, oh, this is so cool, what a brand new thing, and it's all very new and shiny. And then Heresy's been out now for 18 months, and nearly, I'm going to say, at least half, if not more, of the people that jumped on the Heresy bandwagon are off.
That's because all they got was tanks.
It's a weird one. But see, I really like Heresy. I really do, and I'm sort of certainly feet on the ground, so much so that I went to a retreat. So I love Heresy. Yeah, so it's very, very cool. Sorry.
It was even funny as you came back from that and you're like, no, I only want to play Heresy now. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
You're on your own there.
Well, the thing is, like, I ended up, it doesn't matter, I'm getting too much into it. But yeah, Old World, I feel like, is definitely setting a similar path. I feel like it's suffering It's suffering the same thing that Heresy suffered from initially, where you've got half of the new models, and those new Bretonnia models are phenomenal.
Yeah, some of the heads in there are ripe for plucking for other things.
Good lord. Yeah, the Pegasus Knight, the Bretonnia, like, even just like the regular foot sloggers, it's like on a similar level with the Cities of Sigmar stuff. For just normal peoples, they are so detailed.
See, I do really hope I'm wrong with Old World and that it does really take off, because I think there's probably more nostalgia, I think, for Warhammer Fantasy than there is for Heresy and stuff. I think
it
scratches a lot more itches. I think that the test will be whether they can maintain that level, because it's coming to like its apex. We've just had all the Bretonnia stuff. I'm guessing there'll be
Tomb Kings next.
Like you said, there'll be another preview soon, I would think, that's got the Tomb Kings in, which I'm definitely more interested in.
Yeah.
Scaly boys in the sand, yes me please.
Yeah, it's interesting because the one model that they've revealed so far, I was a bit like, eh?
Yeah, but then you got to remember that you've had all these Bretonian models, and then you still got just that one Tomb King thing.
True, and I think they're doing
if
it
they
on
can
purpose.
do something on the level of the Pegasus Knights. Are out of this world.
Yeah, they really are cool.
If that's the standard we're going with, imagine what the Tomb King is going to have.
Yeah, that's true. I think when they first revealed the initial Bretonnian hero on foot, and then they did the same with the Tomb Kings, they were both sort of like, yeah, they're good, but that's all it. I think it was like generate a little bit of hype. This Bretonnian level has just been like up here, and then I think Tomb Kings will obviously be on par as well.
Yeah.
And I think the level of scope they have for something really weird and mummified is sick. So.
In terms of us and Old World, I think if we ever did anything with it, I think I would only do the Tomb Kings, and I would make you do the Bretonians, because I couldn't get gas to paint Bretonians.
It's because you just hate people. Hate painting peoples.
No, it's just maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's it. I don't know. It's a tough one because I think it's still almost like too early to tell, because I don't want to
It definitely is.
I don't want to get too excited either.
This isn't us like going, oh, well, dead before it's even started. This is
yeah, I think it's interesting.
Where are we with it?
You know what I feel like? I don't want to bash anything here, because obviously, like, it's phenomenal, but it feels like a half-baked launch.
I don't know whether COVID had something to do with that.
Whether it did or didn't,
we'll never know.
Still feels half-baked. I feel
what about it feels half-baked for you, though?
So it's utilising... I know why they've done it. I think they've saved on time, saved on money, but...
Where this point is coming from is because we've just looked at So there's what's the horsey kit? The normal horses?
The Knights. Or the Pegasus Knights.
No, the old one.
Yeah, the old Pegasus Knights.
No,
Still
the ones that were on the ground that we were like, oh, that looks rubbish.
Oh, the trebuchet.
No, they were on horses.
Oh, like just the normal cavaliers or whatever they're called. I don't know what. Just knights. Let's call them knights. This is
We
hard.
shouldn't even be making a video. They should even know what it's called.
Yeah, but I don't. To be fair, like at least it's consistent. Like I haven't mentioned the names of
Anyway.
anything properly.
The point I was trying to go with is that if you compare the old kits compared to the Pegasus, like the level of what the Pegasus Knights are, there's a real gap.
Yeah, there is, and I obviously since watching the stream and reading the article, I understand that some of them are going from metal to resin, which obviously makes sense.
Goodbye, metal.
Goodbye, see you never. And I do think it will help, but I think there's as Kieran just obviously mentioned, like there's such a gap, and that's why I think it's a bit half baked. And I understand because it is still very early doors, and people like us are obviously sat on the fence. They're probably not going to go into a fully fledged launch because of that.
Yeah, I think it's maybe it's clever on Games Workshop side that they're like, okay, Heresy didn't maintain that traction. What about if we go half in, see where we're at, and if it does go as big as obviously all the hype is around it, then we can revisit some of these old kits.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think Heresy could have been phenomenal if they just maintained the release. Like their schedule just was like, here's another tank, here's another tank, here's another tank, and it was just like, where's the other stuff?
It needed more characters in between those tanks, I think.
Yeah, it's funny because
but then the tanks were they were easy to knock out, and I get why they did it. Like, okay, there's a quick win here. If we get rid of all the tanks, it unlocks more production stuff to do all the cool things.
Obviously, like I don't know what.
I'll tell you what it is. They needed the room for all those machines to make Fulgrim's wings.
Oh yeah, that's
right here.
Which we still haven't seen, which I thought was really weird. Like obviously,
got his book though.
Yeah, they got the book, but not the mini. I thought that was odd. But yeah, like obviously they've done loads of stuff with the new Mark III stuff, and that's obviously lush. But yeah, I don't know. I feel a bit weird about it, but yeah, strange one.
Anyway, we'll stop talking about Heresy.
Yeah, stop talking about Heresy because it's all about the old world.
Old world.
Yeah, I have seen that they're going to try and encompass a lot of the older armies that were a part of that. So like vampire counts, like Skaven, like orcs and goblins, like lizard men, as they were called back then.
Skaven could be interesting with some more like some of those older kits.
Well, Skaven are due a brand new range refresh next year, so it's going to be interesting how they wangle it. Because I
didn't they say that they weren't going to put those kits into Old World? Like,
so
there's a
they
line.
won't have rules. Yeah, so a lot of the newer AOS minis that weren't a part of the Old World scene won't have their own profiles, which I think is really odd. But
it is when you've got stuff like Seraphon / Lizard Men.
Yeah, because that new Seraphon range refresh was absolutely insane, and I feel like if you're going to use those models but call them something else, like proxying, I think that's fine. Like, that's really cool, so long as you can do that. Because I'll be honest, that's why I was a bit apprehensive about vampire counts. Like I picked up some like movement trays for my zombies and skeletons and stuff, and so long as I can still use the same things I have now, but for Old World, like. Fine, because ultimately then I'd have an army for 2 different game systems. But if it says you can't use, I don't know, an AOS Vampire Lord because reasons, I'll be like, why?
I think
it's funny.
If you're playing with your local gaming group and friends and stuff, I think proxying those newer kits in place of a derpy old one will be fine. I think that's down to individuals. Yeah, is it going to get a tournament scene though?
I don't know. Heresy's quite big. Heresy's got quite a large tournament scene. I think AOS has got to the point now where it's massive. I think obviously it's like 40k's here. AOS is still like here, but I think it is so much bigger than it ever was before. So I don't know. Like it leans into it, and I suppose there's always the idea. We were obviously talking about this a bit before. Like if you picked up loads of the Britannia stuff and you end up playing, I don't know, a little bit of Old World, you could still use a lot of it for the Cities of Sigmar range in AOS. So you could still, a lot of those like foot sloggers or even like the knights, I suppose. You could still utilise them. Yeah,
I do hope it's not. This isn't a case of nostalgia sells. We're in a weird spot with video gaming where remasters sell more than new IPs.
I do feel like it's that. I'll be honest. But then
that's my gut feeling for it. Is that okay? Let's
Yeah.
scratch that old itch for people. I hope that we're wrong and that it does take off, and you've got, because if you think about it at that point, Games Workshop would have 4 big game systems essentially, because you'd have Heresy, you'd have 40k, you'd have AOS, and then you'd have Old World. I mean, you've got Middle Earth strategy battle game, but that's
a bit dead.
this is a shame. But that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, it's just what it
topic.
is. Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think the scope is massive, and ultimately, like, the Old World was so big when it was around.
I remember seeing those kits when I was a kid.
Yeah, just everywhere, absolutely everywhere, and I feel like people dropped off slowly towards the end times for Old World before it eventually became Age of Sigmar, and then they just went, nope, this is different. So maybe that's a little love letter to all of the old players to come back. Be like, we miss you, please come back.
It's definitely getting some buzz, I think, with a lot of the older players.
And I think because of all these new kits and the way they look and how great they are, I do feel like there's going to be a massive injection of new blood, whether it's temporary. Don't know, but yeah, we'll see.
I think so. We can wrap this up with a couple of closing words. I think, me personally, I still need a reason to be going out buying these kits and putting them in my backlog, which is horrendous at this point.
That's it. I think, yeah, to engage that level of commitment, there needs to be a little bit more. It's still very early, but
I'm very fickle. If they do come out with some absolute banging Tomb King kits, then it's all bets are off.
It'll be one crazy character, and you'll just be like, "I'm in."
It'll be
all chips on the table.
It'll be a mummy on a skeleton
beetle
dragon thing in the sand. I'm like, right, I'm in.
If I'll be honest, if it's like anything like the old Tomb Kings, I think it'll be. I mean, and as
so we just convinced ourselves
but
in our own video.
I'll be honest, like, I'm looking at the concept of some of the Tomb Kings things, and I'm like, what could you make that's sort of like a Gridley Thousand Sons army out of Tomb Kings bits? Because some of the old stuff you could do was phenomenal. So yeah.
I think
thinking on a 40k tangent, but yeah, that's it.
I don't need a third game.
Yeah, it's tough.
You don't need a third/4th game.
Fourth, yeah.
Because you're kind of getting back into Heresy. So yeah, I think we both. To sum it up, I think we both need a reason to want to get more in.
Yeah, really keen to hear what your thoughts are as well. Like, please leave us a comment down below, because I think it's such a weird time. Like, I don't think it's coming anytime soon either. I think it will probably be like either just after Christmas.
Yeah,
maybe?
I think it might get a Christmas launch, special box, and then general release next year.
Yeah, I think whenever it does come around, I think it'll be really exciting nonetheless. But for the time being, still on the fence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall I get my
Tomb Kings box?
Pharaoh guy riding a woolly mammoth skeleton thing.
Good grief, yeah. They're all very exciting.
Yeah, let us know if you're excited, what you're excited about.
Or maybe you played Old World before and you're like, yes, finally.
We did this as a whole conversation video.
Yeah, for sure.
We really don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah, just a couple of fools. But yeah, tell us all below.
Give us all the knowledge.
Yeah, please do, and then try and encourage us to invest in
Spend
another
more
game.
money.
Yeah, because that's what we're like. Easily moldable. That's what I... In which case, let's wrap up. Thank you so much for watching. Give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.
Don't use the affiliate link because you can't buy Old World stuff yet.
You can't buy it. No! Go buy something else instead. Right, love you, bye.